So I really hope you can hear us. We are hanging out at Rustica today, which is a really cool breakfast lunch spot. It's amazing. So we're upstairs in their co-working space, and we just hope that our audio is good. So, okay. Hi everyone, it's Michelle for Afro Expats. I am back, and today we're actually coming to you from San Miguel de Allende in central Mexico. I'm here with a really good friend, a new really good friend, Sonali. She's been amazing. I've met her a few times at a couple events, and now we get to sit down and talk. She and I have been kind of bonding over the last couple of months about a lot of things. But anyway, I haven't been here for a minute. I have been so busy with CasaElm.com. I haven't forgot about you guys. We're gonna let that nonsense pass. So I really hope you can hear us. We are hanging out at Rustica today, which is a really cool breakfast lunch spot. It's amazing. So we're upstairs in their co-working space, and we just hope that our audio is good. So saying that, Sonali wants to kind of share with us her program, which is, I'm going to let her explain it because she's better at that than I am. But I think it's a really beautiful thing. She's going to do a retreat possibly at CasaElm.com in September 2022. And she's going to talk about the Pleasure Temple. I'm so going to go to that. I need that. But anyway, if you have questions, feel free to check in the description box below. Anything that you want to know more about her website and connecting with her, more about her retreat, and anything like that. So I'm going to let her talk. Wait, before you say anything, she's been in San Miguel for like 3.5 years as well. So this isn't quite a journey to San Miguel or journey to Mexico interview, but it's going to be a combination of that and also her sharing what she's up to here. And yeah, I'm glad that I got to know her. She's a sweetheart. I love her. Go ahead.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're
it's
welcome.
So good to be here with you. I'm trying to look at you and also look at the screen. This is
whatever you're comfortable with.
This is actually the first time that I'm getting to do an interview live together with the interviewer. It's been a while, and my work has been growing mostly, I mean, a little bit before, but during this whole pandemic. So there wasn't a lot of being with people. So it's really nice. I have to say it's a nice, refreshing change. Let's see, what do I want to say? So like Michelle said, we've connected, we had met an event, and then I am hoping to do a retreat. I'm planning a retreat. I just need to be more in the positive about it.
Exactly. We're doing a retreat.
We're doing a retreat. The retreat's happening in September. And that's how I got connected with her again, and looking at the space, Casa Elm, which is amazing. If any of you are interested in coming to San Miguel, it's a beautiful way to just come and see the place and visit. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of where I want to start. Well, I have a new offering that's coming, and it's called the Pleasure Temple. It's an online group program for women of color, and it's about 12 weeks long. So some of the details are still like, crystallizing. But I can talk a little bit about how this came to be. How did the Pleasure Temple come into existence? Because it has taken some years for that to happen.
Before you talk about it, like, is there a direct website that people can find you and more information about signing up?
Yes, that's great. Great to bring that up. So my website is www.iamsacredground.com, and my Instagram is also iamsacredground. This week we have a couple of, several different, I think, hot springs in town, but at one of them I made my first TikTok Also, I am sacred crowns.
Okay.
That's something new. I'm trying to get
it.
a couple of my women of color friends to like, we're going to try to get on there and try it.
Okay.
So these are the places that you can find more information. The actual landing page for the program is still, it's almost there. It's almost there, almost ready. It'll be ready very soon. But what I want to mention is that before coming to San Miguel for, I'll say 15 years, I was in healthcare. I was in medicine. I went to medical school. I became a psychiatrist. I was working with children, adolescents, and families. And this was for a number of years until I was really quite burnt out of it. I'll put my hands up.
Go ahead.
So my focus, what I want to explain, this is what I want to explain, is that there was a shift in my life from focusing on pain in people's lives, pain that people were going through, emotional pain, emotional difficulties, losses, all that kind of thing. I had a very pivotal, profound loss in my own life, where during medical school, my younger brother took his life. We're coming on the 22nd anniversary of that. So this was a long time ago, but it led me into this field of psychiatry. I wasn't thinking about doing that before. I was just going to work with kids. I was going to be a pediatrician. That was my plan. So there was this whole focus for years around pain. It was my own pain, my own grief that I was holding. And that led to, well, how can I help others? How can I serve? How can I help others with their losses, grief, emotional pain, you know? And then I was burnt out. And I started to look into, well, not quite at the very point I left my work, but before then I was looking into other ways of healing, other ways of looking at wellness, looking at health, you know? And this led me to probably about 10 years before I left my job or so, I found Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is the healing, wellness, the medicine part related to yoga. It's like 5,000 years old. I didn't know anything about it. And it's actually got roots in where my parents are from, in Sri Lanka. It's got roots in India and Sri Lanka, and I didn't know like anything about it. But when I found out, it like captivated me. Like, oh my gosh, this is such a unique way of looking at things. This is a unique way of looking at how do we take care of ourselves. It's like a very loving, it's all like loving, you know, like how we take care of ourselves, how do we nurture ourselves, how do we nourish? It has a lot to do with food, has a lot to do with like the sun, and like, you know, when we eat, that the sun is gonna, when the sun is at its peak, that's when we can digest the most. It has all this like very, there's so much wisdom that's related to nature, that's related to just, it makes sense, you know, it made a lot of sense to me. So this is what led me away from Chicago, where I'd been for 20 years, and away from that whole life, away from that whole career, was to eventually leave and go to Sri Lanka. So I went to Sri Lanka before I came here, just talking about paths to San Miguel. So my journey. So I was in Sri Lanka trying to learn from a resort that one of my mother's friends, that family owns that resort. So that was great, except it wasn't quite what I was looking for. And then it led me into this pivot that led me more towards pleasure. So here was the pivot from pain. I focused on pain, I focused on my own pain, my own grief, my own like guilt, all of that, which I put into my career, which I was helping other people with, which is like, it was good for a while. It was very fulfilling for a while, because there's a lot of people, as we know, like there's a lot of people going through all kinds of things like that.
Yes.
You know,
Can I drink to that?
I can, let's both drink to that one. We all know it. And it was in Sri Lanka that I had an opportunity, I had a choice to make. And I could have been going to this very intensive program in India with a renowned Ayurvedic doctor who I'd met before. My friend had done it before. I knew it was a very good program.
Yeah.
Or I could come to Mexico to do a retreat, a women's tantra retreat called Wild Bliss. And it tortured me for so long because I'm like, my mind is like, you go to India, you're a doctor, this is what you wanted to do, and you didn't find it in Sri Lanka, go to India. And then my body was like, you're going to Mexico.
Interesting. So is that the retreat you told me about with the couple, or that's in Los Frailes? I thought it was different.
No, this is a different retreat. This is in Sayulita.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I'm a retreat. I've gone to a lot of retreats.
Retreat junkie. I'm not, but I want to do more. So tell me.
That's why I want to offer them more and more, because I know how they can. It really can be transformative, as this one was. So this was in the jungle, but on the beach, by the beach.
Okay.
In Sayulita, on the west coast of Mexico.
Yeah, Sayulita is in Mexico, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who had come to live in San Miguel with her 2 children. She was a widow. And I just knew from Facebook, because she invited me to a Facebook group. We had lost touch. We'd known each other for like 15 years, longer. And I just knew she was here. So I reached out to her from Sri Lanka, like, well, I'm going to Mexico, you're in Mexico. Mexico's a big place.
32 states.
For those of you, it's 32 states. I didn't even know that, but it's quite big. But here I was across the world, like, hey, I'm going to be in Mexico and you're in Mexico.
Tomorrow. The beach. Wait, I'm not at the beach. Now I've had that happen. Wait, I wanted to ask you about the friend.
Yes.
Is that Laura?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
No. Karen is her name.
Okay, not a.
And she's not here anymore.
Laura's not here either, but she's also a widow with children. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we probably people know people here.
It's a small town.
It's a small town. It's not Chicago.
No, not
sure.
even close.
But that's what brought me here. I came to visit her after that retreat. So I came to the retreat, said no to India and all that. Came to the retreat. It was amazing. It was kind of scary because I really didn't know what to expect. But then I decided to I decided to sign up for a coaching program that the teacher at that retreat offered. I made that decision here. A lot of decisions I started making, and they were here, and then they brought me here to stay here. But I came here to visit after that. So that's kind of part of my journey. And it really was the real big shift came to focus on pleasure.
Okay.
To focus on bringing more pleasure into my life.
So, okay, and this is pleasure for females. Okay,
Yes.
just sorry guys, if you're watching, this is not pleasure for you. Oh, then again, you might benefit from it, but it is.
It might end up being pleasure for you.
Yeah.
And pleasure is for everyone. So
This is
pleasure is for everyone. But what I'm offering is for women.
Okay.
Yeah, or femmes, or that
Right.
kind of thing.
So elaborate, because I want to know about. So just to recap for those who might be new to my channel, I just let people talk, so I don't really know what's coming. So I just ask the questions that I think most people will want to know about. And then you're also welcome to, contact the person directly that I'm interviewing about what it is that they're talking about. So I think this is, to me, I think it's very interesting, because I really feel that there's definitely a shift right now in just like the gender, kind of taking back how women feel about their bodies, how they feel about their presentation. They're not necessarily conforming to things that maybe we were told we should conform to. So I know that I'm totally like shining in, kind of like relishing in this light and form at the moment. So yeah, tell us more about it.
So on this journey that I started to take once I decided to do this coaching program that was called at the time it was called Sex, Love, and Relationships Coaching. And it really is, when I found me, so the first was the shift from pain to pleasure, like focusing on pain. Not that I was or anyone's like focusing on pain, but it's just, we're dealing with pain, you know, and it becomes a focus because it's there. So focusing on pain to pleasure, but also the other journey, the inner journey was from like what's going on in my mind, what the thoughts are, what's my rational thinking, which had been taking priority for most of my life, to what's going on in my body, like connecting to my heart, connecting to my body, you know, and bringing a lot of awareness there to what's being held there, bringing awareness to sensations, bringing awareness to like really getting into a deeper connection with basically our nervous system, when we can relax more, when we can allow that subtle changes, and to not be in stress response all the time, which our lives, like I'm just saying, our lives in general tend to put us into fight and flight and freeze and appease as the main four like stress responses. So something happens and we're in one of those, and without realizing it, we can really spend a lot of time in those stress responses, just in those stress responses. And actually, pleasure does not really exist in those stress responses.
That's true, because your brain isn't focused on that. You're focused on the heightened anxiety and the, you know, need to fix things, or the need to, like you said, be reactionary to things, as opposed to, you know what, I'm just going to be present in this moment and I'm going to enjoy this. So,
It's really what it is. It's about I mean, to put it very simply, this work is about being present to our sensations, being present to what we are experiencing moment to moment in our body. And it's about allowing, it's about surrender. And when we can get into that state, guess what? We can experience pleasure, a lot of pleasure. And actually, that is a very natural state to be in. It's a very invigorating state to be in. It's like revitalizing. It's like all of this, but we have to do some work, like work or not, but it takes some attention and intention,
like a conscious effort.
A conscious effort.
Total conscious effort. Okay, so I'm going to be a female and I'm going to say, what does that look like? Not really, like, you know, what does that look like? Because I could, in my mind, I could think of a million ways that, not a million, maybe 50 ways that, like, this is what she's talking about. Like, how would you explain that to someone who is interested in understanding what they should expect if they attended the retreat?
Okay, so great questions. It's really, it's a process. So there's not like one thing, there's definitely not one exercise and like, oh, then you're going to be living in the state of pleasure. Like, it is it's making a conscious effort. Like you said, it's making being intentional, and it's about creating space so that we can do what I would say is, like, in a retreat setting, it would be like different practices that we're going to do. We're going to do like breath work. We're going to do movement. There'll be meditation, like maybe guided meditation or different things too, all of which is to help bring that state of presence, that state of surrender, that state of allowing, which allows more pleasure to happen. And my teacher, so Layla Martin, this is the person who I went to the retreat in Sayulita with, like, she talks about this top down and bottom up approach, which I do think really does work, because we can't just, if we've been living and operating from our mental functioning, our rational mind for our whole lives, we can't just suddenly get into the surrendered, we're in bliss state. It just doesn't.
I get it. I understand what you do. Yeah, no, I totally understand.
It's not like magic. I mean, we can talk about magic happening, but it's not like that, So when we work with the top down, we are giving some guidance, giving some understanding. Like from my perspective, it's like understanding how our body works, understanding the nervous system. It's a really big part of this, because we can only experience pleasure when we're in what we call the window of tolerance, is the state in the middle, and when we're out of that window, then we're in one of these stress responses.
Okay.
So this is when we're just relaxed, just be, we feel comfortable, you know,
Yeah.
we feel more at ease, and that's where we can experience pleasure. So it's like talking about that a bit, giving some education a little bit, teaching about that, and bringing in practices that allow a person to experience that in their body. It's like both. It's like both. We're constantly like working with both, so that it helps guide the journey.
That makes sense. Okay, so I guess my next question would be, you know, there's the exercises and then maybe like some workshops and stuff. Like, people think about pleasure, they think sexual pleasure. Is it encompassed in this, or is it just like pleasure is in, you know what, like what do you like to do? Does it also incorporate the way something tastes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've spoken to some folks, and you know, they've talked about different things they participated in, and one of the things that I found interesting was, you know, providing like a part of a retreat where they were able to have different taste, you know what I mean? That was also a pleasure. Like, here's a spicy chocolate, or here's a sweet chocolate, or here's a chocolate with coffee in it. So like, you know, like what do you envision this experience? Well, you've done this before. So what like what, because this is not just, you know, a half a day thing. Like what do you kind of lead up to in the retreat?
Well, in the retreat and in a program too, like this group program, it's kind of like a slow build, but kind of like moving in from different angles, right? So we have like our senses, our five senses, very important, because we can't really experience much with our senses if we're in fight, flight, freeze, or repeat. We're not able to take in with the senses very well. We're in, our nervous system doesn't allow it. So we have to be, to get it, again, all of it is like getting into this place of ease. And then we can like savor. I love the word savor. Like we can savor taste, smells. You have that beautiful house. Like that's very enticing to senses.
That's true. Thank you.
It's amazing. I hope you get to see it. And so part of it is working with the senses. It really is like doing things like taking a piece of chocolate and just having it melt in your mouth and just observing everything that's happening in your body, because it's never just like one sense. It's like the sense leads to our whole body experience, right? So there's that. There's like a sensual part. There's like the senses and touch and, you know, sensual. And then sexual pleasure is all part of it too. Sexual pleasure is very much a part of pleasure. But we have to, like, even as I even try to talk about it, like it's, I say it's something to go carefully with, you know, to, again, we have in female bodies, many of us have experienced trauma or different things that make it difficult to access sexual pleasure. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's again, we create some safety for ourselves, create that place of ease. And then there's a lot of guided like practices related to self-pleasure, related to touch, related to using, you know, all kinds of things related to sexual pleasure. But I think it's we go slow, we kind of work, and we don't push. This is not, that's the patriarchy. That's the like, you know, all the systemic kind of oppression that we have around. It's like push and it's fast. It's got to be this and that.
Right. And expectations that are not real, like they're false, false expectations. I think, like if I had to define it in some capacity, which is not my retreat, but it's that it's a safe space for you to, ask questions probably and, learn about things that maybe if you're not overly comfortable with, not everyone, because like I said, I do think that women are kind of reclaiming their, femininity and just saying, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and that's okay, So that's what I'm getting from this.
I'm gonna bring in what one of my teachers, who's I'm gonna say Mexican American. Her name is Dr. Rocio Rosales Mesa, and she right now has a program on decolonial alchemy. Her work is all on decolonizing, but she talks about in her space that I'm in right now that it's hard to have a safe space because sometimes we hear that, and even that can be kind of triggering to people because it's like, what is a safe space really?
True.
Even though we can talk about creating safety. I talk about creating safety in our own bodies. That's for us to create in our own bodies for sure. But she mentions a brave space, and I really like that because it's like we're gonna be brave. We're gonna try.
Exactly.
We're gonna be
and
together.
Speak your mind and be honest.
Yeah.
Right. I have no problems with that.
That's great. This has taken me a long time to get to, for sure.
I have a big mouth, so go
ahead. And just speaking about her, I also want to mention that for me on my journey, going back to my journey, as I was doing this work and getting more connected to my body, so much started to open up for me in terms of my awareness. We had a group that a friend of mine was running within I did the coaching program, then I was a mentor and a teacher, and I'm still teaching in part of there's a membership space. But there was a program that was like a group that was just for women of color, for BIWOC, Black Indigenous Women of Color, called The Table, and I met every month. And a friend of mine was running that, and it was all these women who are doing the sexuality coaching.
Okay.
And it was incredibly profound to be in that space. And I got connected eventually to Dr. Rocio, and then to Resma Menachem, who does somatic abolitionism. I'm in a space of his, a teaching group of his. And this eventually led to me just really in the last, I did offer a retreat in November that was for women of color. So I guess that was when I started to really state that this work, or the services I wanted to offer, the work I want to offer is for women of color or melanated beings, or however you want to.
Bodies of color. I'm all about it, and I'm in support of that as well. No, I think the concept is fantastic. I just think that we're all in like these spaces of wondering about ourselves. And I think that a lot of the people, or women, I should say, that are probably in my demographic are kind of on their own, trying to figure out where to. Doesn't mean it doesn't apply to you if you have an amazing man in your life. We love that too. But in regard to just having like a woman's retreat and a safe space or brave space to connect with other women in a very comfortable setting, I like this idea. I've always been kind of open and outspoken about, what I feel I like or don't like or whatever. I'm like, not that, this, whatever. But I've also realized over, the course of my adult years that there are a lot of people who aren't comfortable talking about these things. And it's not that I'm comfortable talking about everything. I'm not, but I'm definitely more outspoken that, in regard to this. However, what I've learned is, there are 1 million viewpoints. You know what I'm saying? And people have like their perspectives on things. And I do, like I said, I do really think that there's a huge shift right now where women are kind of reclaiming their bodies, expectations, their space, you know, what's people societal expectations are or not, and you know, saying this is what I enjoy and this is what I don't like, you know, and that's okay, you know, it's okay to, and also maybe just not knowing, you know. I've had many conversations with, you know, friends, female friends, they're just like, oh, I don't know about that, and I didn't know about it. I'm like, girl, check it out. So no, I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
I really think it's amazing. So how was the last retreat that you did? Tell me a little bit about that.
It was real. For me, it was such a good experience. It was very small. So there were 3 women who came, and we had just like it basically was like a long weekend. I think it was like 4 days, 3 nights, but you know, it went really quickly. We were at a, I don't know if you've been to that retreat center, Sagrada.
I haven't. Okay. But that's also in San Miguel de Allende.
Yeah.
What's it called? Sagrada?
Sagrada, Holistic Ranch.
Okay. Yeah. It's really beautiful. I've seen it online, and I remember when they were advertised, I was like, this was pre me getting CasaElm.com. And I thought this would be an amazing space also to do women's retreat, because it's close enough to town and Central, because everyone thinks they want to be in Central, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you do a retreat, you kind of want to be a little bit outside of the noise and, you know, whatever could be happening on that given weekend or day. But yeah, it gets you away and into a little bit more of like a quiet space. Yeah. And Casa Elm is the same.
Yes.
You know, where we're not too far from Central. We are about a 10 to 12 minute car ride into Central, but you're not way outside of the city, but you're where it's quiet, you know, and you can have people decompress, which I'm finding this is kind of what's happening. You know, I'm getting a lot of women who are solo travelers who want to either check out San Miguel or they want to visit San Miguel de Allende. They want to move to San Miguel de Allende. So the point is the house is kind of like that soft landing space. I keep saying that because you can instantly connect to people like Sonali, myself, and others that live here, bodies of color or not. And, you know, we can help you integrate. So yeah, I mean, the retreat is definitely right up my alley in regard to just offering a space for mostly women. You know, I'm not excluding guys, so don't get mad, guys. But just like the space where you can come in and feel just integrated with what's happening in this city, because it's really a beautiful place. I just feel like it's a bubble. I don't know if you feel that way. I've always felt like that. And now I'm sharing it. I'm just like, guess what? You know, you can come to Mexico and it's not that difficult for you to connect, you know, with people. And yeah, it just makes it easy here for you to integrate. It's not difficult. I definitely think that. And I'm meeting more and more amazing folks like yourself. No, really, I'm just thrilled, and this house is just speaking to me right now what it wants to be. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. So yeah, tell us anything else you want to share.
I'll just say just a little bit more that was coming to me as you're talking about the retreat and the idea of having a retreat, which I will be having.
Well, let's talk about the dates.
Like,
or at least a month.
I know. I have the exact dates, but the group program is going to start on the summer solstice, so that's 21st of June.
Okay.
And the retreat is around retreat is around the fall equinox.
Okay.
So that's
fall equinox.
September 21st.
We'll have it in the description, the exact dates. How many days? I know we were kind of kicking that around. It's not set in stone, but it is definitely in September 2022. And
I think 5 days, 4 nights. Yeah, make it a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to find the details on CasaElm.com, and also
Yeah, I am sacred ground.
I am sacredground.com. I am sacredground.com. Just in case I said that too fast. Yeah. So either place, you'll be able to book, ask questions. You know, we're kicking around like the exact dates and things.
Yeah.
What the offering will be to those folks who register. So that means you gotta put your name in, give us your email address, and then we'll send you a little bit more details or an itinerary about what to expect. And you know, this will be your go-to person. I'm providing the space, she's facilitating. I'm providing the space, she's facilitating. Let's say that one more. I'm providing the space, she's facilitating. That means she'll have all your answers to all your questions.
You've been doing this for a while.
Well, you know, it's like people will start asking me questions.
To be clear, yeah.
And I'm just going to be like, you can talk to Sonali about the details. Yeah, and we'll be kind of working on the back end. The house is beautiful. If you're not familiar with it, we do relocation tours. We have a couple other special things that we're going to be offering through the rest of this year. And as I said, it's not smack dead in Central, but it's still not far from Central. So the point of the home is to provide the soft landing, but also a space to decompress, especially for women and bodies of color. And, you know, everyone has like their private space, but then there's also the opportunity to meet other people and bond with those people. But the overall idea is to come here and be able to leave with, you know, more of yourself, right? Yes. No, I really think that. I really feel like leaving with more of yourself and just, you know, like giving up the stress for as long as possible, you know. Yeah, I just keep meeting the most amazing people, and mostly women here that are doing these really incredible things. And I say here, not in just San Miguel, but Mexico, you know, I keep meeting such spiritual leaders and healers and people like yourself providing, you know, these services and offerings that are I just think we need them. I really think women need these things, you know, and I'm inspired. And as I said to a friend this morning, who's also going to facilitate sound bowl. We've been doing sound bowl, cacao, meditation, you name it, ceremonies. But she just came from California, in Cece, and I said to her, you know, I'm not a facilitator. Okay, I don't play sound bowls. I can play the sound bowls. They won't sound as pretty, but I provide the stuff. My strong points are connecting people and creating the space for things to happen. And that's where my strength is. And people like yourself who want, and of course, I would love to do a retreat. I'm going to do a retreat too. But my point is I like having a space to bring women together. And that's what I'm learning about being here really is being able to connect the dots, you know, help people connect the dots. And that's right up my alley. Like, I love it. Yeah. Like, I sit back and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, so-and-so connected with something. That makes me feel amazing. Not in a cocky way, just kind of like it makes my spirit smile. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, this is cool. Like, I love it. Cool. You know, it's so awesome. Yeah. So anyway, enough about that. Enough about me. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. And I want to say, like, just very aligned with that, you know, with the last retreat that I did, the focus was like three things that it was connecting to the body, it was connecting to the land, that's something that has come through in this work too, as I've been doing more embodiment work. And then it was like connecting to each other in community, and all of that together really allows people to leave with more of themselves, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Anything else you want to add, Sonali?
Oh, gosh. I guess I would just say, like, you know, it's really comes down to very simple things like just taking 30 seconds, a minute, you know, to just breathe, close your eyes, like focus on the sensations in your body. Like, even just doing that for just this short amount of time is a way of starting to tune in, you know, trying to bring the attention to our bodies, to what's going on there. So
Well, thank you so much for all your info. We'll have details on the exact dates and also the cost will be sent to those who register. That means name, first, last, and email. Yeah, because we want to send it to people who are really truly interested in joining us. And just to reiterate, if you're not familiar with San Miguel de Allende, we are located in central Mexico. No, we're not on the beach. We are in the mountains. The weather is amazing. It's an amazing city. If you haven't heard about it, check us out online. San Miguel de Allende, Allende. And you can visit casaelm.com for more information about the house. I am the owner, founder of that space, and also the founder, owner of afroexpats.com. This is the channel that you're on, just in case you didn't realize that. And Sonali's website, once again.
Oh, I am sacredground.com.
That's right. And you can find more info there. You're always welcome to send us an email if you have questions. And we'll have the exact dates in the description below, but it's definitely in September around the Fall Equinox, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So thank you for joining us today. If you haven't subscribed, you know, I have to do all the formalities because I always forget those things. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the notification bell for my new videos. I haven't been here for a minute, as I said in the beginning of the video, but I'm planning to get my act together. I've been in a lot of transition and on a personal level, but it's all good. And yeah, we're here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out right below. If I don't get back to you right away, you can send an email to afroexpats@gmail.com. And thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Besitos. Gracias.